Guys, what's up and welcome back to my channel. It is me, your snowboarding instructor, off-duty looking ass. Do I not have that vibe today? Anyway, so we're here to talk about Simone Biles. Now there's been this like 2-minute piece of an interview that's been going around. It's been on basically every social media, so I cannot escape it once again. And it's an interview with her and her husband. The clip we're going to be talking about is specifically her husband speaking, which I'm going to tell you now, it's mind-numbing. There's a lot I'm going to say, but I'm just going to keep me going off for later. I'm just going to say this as just a little preface. There are names that you know even if you don't follow sports, right? So the majority of us know who Michael Jordan is, even if you don't follow basketball, never have played it. A lot of us, most of us I'd say, know who Ronaldo is, even though you might have not played soccer, don't watch soccer, right? There are some names that are historically and culturally significant that you know regardless of your knowledge in sports. Can we all just address that? You don't need to have an extensive history, but the name will ring a bell. Specifically with people like Simone Biles, where at least in the States, probably in Canada, you guys can tell me in other countries, even here in Italy, I remember seeing some stuff. But anyway, so let's keep this in mind. So there's this clip going around of Simone Biles and her husband, and they're being interviewed. But again, it's only 2 minutes, so let's also keep that into account that other things happened before or after. This clip is so demoralizing to me, and I understand why people are kind of afraid or don't want to invest in marriage when they see partners behaving the way this man does, because truly gross. But let me just show you. For the sake of transparency, I've already obviously seen this clip multiple times. I do not like this man. I do not like his behavior. I believe he is a walking red flag, and it takes a while for me to say that because I don't like using that loosely. This is where the clip starts.
For a couple of days, man, and it's like she pops up and I'm like, let me see who this is. Gymnastics, I ain't never, I never really paid attention to gymnastics, so it piqued my curiosity. For a couple of days, man, and it's like she pops up and I'm like, let me see who this is. Gymnastics, I ain't never, I never really paid attention to gymnastics, so it piqued my curiosity, so I'm like, okay, I'll see what's up. I swiped her and it said we matched. So I'm just like, oh, okay, so I'm gonna see what's up. So I go do my workout and I come back and I get like, I had some likes on my Instagram, and I'm like, oh, this might be. I'm like, okay. So I see what's up and then I still waited. I'm like, man, I'm gonna wait till I, take a shower and everything. Then I come back to my phone and then she messages me on the app like, hey, you know what I mean? And man, this gotta be fake. Like, I don't know. I didn't know who she was at the time, but like the first thing that I saw was that she just had a bunch of followers. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, she gotta be good. I promise you, I'm a real life story. When she won the Olympics, I was in college and we didn't have NBC, we didn't have Olympic channels, and we're in camp. Late July, early August. So I'm not paying attention to, so I never would have had a moment to where I would have watched like.
I have to love this one guy, one of the interviewers. I don't know who any of these people are, to be fair, so I'm sorry if I'm not using their names, but this interviewer just looking at him being like, I do not fucking believe you for a second that you didn't know who Simone Biles was. I don't like anything that's going on here. Truly putting on my most empathetic, willing to give the benefit of the doubt hat. I do not believe this for a second. Now, granted, he may not have known who Simone Biles was, right? But any person with 1/70th of a brain cell, which is already saying a lot for this man, probably considering the things he's saying. 1/70th is my generosity for Christmas. You're welcome. You see someone has a big following. Are you not curious as to why that is? And he says he saw that she was a gymnast. And I'm like, there aren't like a billion gymnasts in the world who have her following. And it's also like, would you not want to know where that following comes from? Because if you have that big of a following as a gymnast, first of all, it's not only gymnasts who are following you if there are that many people. So you have to wonder, okay, was she on TV in some kind of show for gymnasts? Was she in the Olympics? Was she, like, where is this coming from? How do you not want to know when you're swiping on someone? This seems like basic knowledge. And the craziest part too is that even if you thought it was fake, right, you have to look into the person they're faking to kind of be able to call them out for it, right? All of this is just mystifying to me because it's like, so you were kind of willing to get to know someone without knowing anything about them and assuming they were kind of a catfish because the real Simone Biles to you was too famous to be on the app, even though you didn't really understand who Simone Biles Do you see where I'm kind of getting stuck here? When something seems too good to be true, and this might just be me, I turn on my investigation mode. Now, that's not saying crossing certain boundaries of privacy, because everyone deserves that. But if someone seems like a catfish, or if they're saying shit that doesn't add up, I will go check the tools I have, which in this case are so basic. Google, Instagram, Twitter. You can just figure out exactly who she is based on that. Now, whether it was a fake or not is a different story. The way he's also talking about this, and this is just my own little pet peeve, but it's like, if I'm sitting with my partner and we're talking about how we met, I would like to see something a little less nonchalant of like, oh yeah, I saw her, like we swiped, I said, okay, I'll see what's up. Like, I'm not saying you have to fall on your knees and look up at the sky and scream saying, I'm so glad this woman has been gifted to me by God. Like, I'm not saying that. Though a little drama never hurts if it's in the positive direction. If I think in my head the day that I met my husband, I talk about it with a fondness because it has significance, right? It's not like, oh yeah, we met on Tinder, showed up to the date, worked out, I guess. Like, but I have to go back to the interviewer who does not believe this at all. I think we're all him.
You know.
Jonathan, I'm gonna let you finish your story, man. Continue.
But like I was saying, man, she messaged me. This was like a Tuesday, and we were texting back and forth, and then we hung out Friday, man. And we couldn't do much as COVID happened. Everything was shut down. So she came through down to Houston. She lived in the suburbs, so she had to drive about 45 minutes to me. Then the rest is history, man. So
you was really the catch in.
I always say the men the catch, man. I always say we the catch, man.
Yeah, so she really booked you.
She did, though.
Is what you're saying.
Because I was fighting it. So
in truth, if I say this out loud, was Jonathan Owens ain't really want Simone Biles. Is what you're saying.
At the time, I'm not going to say that.
That's what you're saying.
I was afraid. I was afraid to commit. I'm like, man, this is my third year, you know, I'm trying to, I'm like, it's kind of early. But, you know, like I said, man, it happened when you least expect it. And we hung out, man, it was like we hit it off instantly. You know, we just laughed the whole night.
Hold up.
I'm just gonna say this. If I ever have to, in my future, which I do not predict happening, if I ever have to interview and I had a partner who responded in this way, we are going to have to talk when we get home. And I mean that in the scariest way possible. You know, putting all the jokes aside, right? Aside from the fact that we all have our little idealistic vision of what we want in our lives with our romantic partners, whatever, this to me comes down to, and this is why I was so mad about it, a question of basic respect. Because I find some of this purposefully trying to humiliate her. Because first of all, was it really necessary to say that you were fighting it and she was the one basically chasing you? And there's no problem. Women who chase men, women who chase other women, whatever. Being the person who's chasing, the pursuer, if you will, there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Follow what you want, go for what you want. On the contrary, I think it's gonna hurt you more to not pursue what you want. But in this particular context, we already know that socially speaking, women pursuing is always viewed some type of way. Let me not start. I know I've already mentioned it recently, but something's come up in relation. I'm not gonna go into it. But you get some kind of judgment. Like me proposing to Jacob, I got quite a bit of judgment. Even out of people you wouldn't really expect, I got some judgment for that as being like desperate or whatever. And for me, it was more like, I know what I want. I'm gonna go for it. If you want to wait 7 years for him to not propose to you, go for it. But I'm not doing that. The fact that she pursued him is here kind of turned into like, I don't know. I don't like how they talk about it, and maybe it's just my own sensibilities. Maybe it's just my own bias, but I feel like it's already something that's kind of viewed a little bit negatively. Now, obviously things are changing, but the older generations, like my parents' age, still kind of view things that way. A lot of them anyway. So I already don't understand that. And I feel like you should consider yourself lucky in the sense of you should feel lucky to have anyone's time, but specifically the time of someone who is, I can't imagine how busy between training, events, blah, blah, blah. Someone who's giving you the time, someone who's investing the time in you and deciding to show you they care. That's not something that happens every day. Trust and believe, I have heard so much that scares the hell out of me. So the way that he was kind of being so nonchalant about someone who was so all in is disappointing. Also because the way he frames the story makes it seem like he just went with it. Like, the most romantic thing that was said here, and again, it's just 2 minutes, maybe later on he turns into fucking Romeo, but here, the most romantic thing he said is that they hit it off. So you're gonna make her seem like someone who's chasing you. You were the one who was afraid of commitment, which I understand, honestly, that I can understand. But it was just so unnecessary. Like, a lot of the story he included, I was like, do you not have any other stories that are cute, that represent you guys as a couple, that don't frame her as this kind of person who couldn't live without you? Which I also wonder if this is an ego trip for him. Like, is it making you feel good that this really talented gymnast was pursuing you and you just acted nonchalant about it? I kind of have to wonder how much of that is real. Because honestly, it's hard for me to believe that anyone would be able to go out with someone at that level of just, not just talent, but fame, like world-renowned fame, and not be at all nervous, not be at all shaken by it. I don't know how you meet someone who is that accomplished and that famous and you're just kind of like whatever about the fact that they're interested in you romantically. Like, that doesn't add up to me. So either you're delusional and think you are, you know, the pinnacle of manhood, which I'm not going to say that's this person. I definitely am getting a very self-centered vibe, so I don't know what to tell you about that. But all of this just seems so rude towards her. Like, no being proud of her for all her accomplishments. I don't know. I just find this disappointing, and maybe, you know, like, the exhaustion from exams or final papers has made me a little idealistic. We're going to try and take care of that, go to the pharmacy. But this is so just unnecessary and stupid and childish. And you see her kind of roll her eyes in a ha-ha way, but I find this, I think I would genuinely be kind of hurt by some of this, aside from having the rage of 1,000 burning suns. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you to my patrons, as always, and I'll catch you guys next time.